Have you ever heard of what's called a not enougher? Perhaps you know one. Perhaps you are one. A not enougher is a person that is never satisfied. No matter how much they have, no matter how much they get, it's never enough. They're never satisfied and content. Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. Hello everyone, I'm Kiris. Welcome to our cosmic journey. This is your astrology, cosmic superpower, for the week beginning Sunday, December 8th through Saturday, December 14th, 2024. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. The enchanting, magical December sky this week has the second quarter moon at 17 degrees Pisces. The second quarter moon rises around noontime your local time and sets around midnight. On December 12th, we have the waxing gibbous moon now reaching its perigee, which is the closest point in its elliptical orbit around the Earth. Also on December 12th, we have the moon near Jupiter and the Pleiades. Also look for the fiery orange star Aldebaran, which is the eye of Taurus the bull. It's near Jupiter. They will be visible until a few hours before dawn. We still have the Geminid meteor showers, where if it's clear you can get to see up to 100 meteors per hour. They will peak around the date of December 13th. And then on December 13th and 14th, we have the almost full moon, last full moon of the year of 2024. Can you believe it already? We have the moon near Jupiter. It's also near a fixed star called Capella, which is the gift that just keeps on giving, that fixed star. And Jupiter will also be near the orange giant star Aldebaran, that's the fiery eye of Taurus the bull, and also near the shimmering glow of the delicate Pleiades star cluster. All of this will rise shortly after sunset and be visible through dawn. The 7 original planets that you can see without aid of telescope or binoculars, or the OGs as I call them, they are starting off the week lined up by such. They are the original planets first used by the original astrologers. We've got the sun in mutable fire Sagittarius. The moon is in mutable water Pisces. Mercury is in mutable fire Sagittarius retrograde in its detriment. Venus is now in fixed air Aquarius. Mars is retrograde in fixed fire Leo. Jupiter is in its detriment in the sign of Gemini. And Saturn is direct now in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter, also mutable. I keep repeating the word mutable because we have this massive lineup of mutable signs of the zodiac without a lot of the element of earth. In astrology, we work with fire, air, earth, and water. The mutable signs of the zodiac, and there's mutable, fixed, cardinal, but the mutable signs of the zodiac, they correspond to the 4 months out of the year where that month the season is shifting and changing. We're not fully out of one season, we're not into the next month or season. The 4 mutables are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So this mutable morphing, shifting, changing, these signs of the zodiac, they are what is called the not enougher that I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. Meaning, mutables are restless. They get bored easily. They need and want constant change. They connect to the times of the year when things are changing. This Sunday, on December 8th, we've got the second quarter moon at 17 degrees Pisces. Now, 17 degrees Pisces is a degree of astrology that has to do with being very prudent, careful, cautious with your money. Now, along with the moon in Pisces squaring the sun in Sagittarius. That's the second quarter moon. We also have the moon in Pisces making a conjunction to Saturn in Pisces. We've got the moon in Pisces making a square to Jupiter in its detriment in Gemini. We've got the moon in Pisces again making that square to the sun in mutable Sagittarius. The sun and the moon, the inner and the outer, are at war with each other. They're conflicted. They're wanting to take action with this square aspect. Also, the second quarter moon is when we cross over into the second quarter portion of the month where the energy is condensing and building. We're now moving to the exact moment of the full moon, which will be in mutable air Gemini, last full moon of the year. The one earth element that we have is we have the planet Uranus, which is the sudden, unexpected disruption, separation. It's a divorce planet in fixed earth Taurus, which is a money sign, and also Taurus being fixed does not take sudden disruptions and change easily or lightly. Taurus's fortitude, it sees it through, its determination. Once that Taurus component makes a commitment to something, then they are going to see it through to the end, no matter what. If they can help it at all, that Taurus will accomplish the goal. And this is connected to the second quarter moon at 17 degrees Pisces, which is about being careful about your finances, what is secure, what is yours, your goods. Taurus has a lot to do with things like jewelry, collectibles, all of the things that you have of value, including your talents. The moon in Pisces making this sextile aspect of opportunity to Uranus and Taurus, that's a positive aspect, saying, be aware of this, look at this situation here with satisfaction and contentment, holding on to what is yours. Now, earth is the element of being content, being satisfied. The element of earth is very present. It's not restless and flying about and getting bored easily, this kind of thing. The element of earth, just like look at a gorgeous mountain, look at nature, to simply be. This is the element of earth that is not emphasized this week in astrology. It's something that we want to emphasize and pay attention to because it's so lacking this week in the cosmos and in the cosmic energies, that the highlight is, with everything shifting and changing, and this feeling of it's not enough, this feeling of what's the next thing, very restless, all of the mutables that we're talking about here. We want to highlight, the cosmos is putting a big spotlight on what is yours, and that feeling of contentment and keeping, appreciating, that's a better word, of what is yours as an earth element, meaning solid, satisfying, content. It's here. It's not flying off, restless, wanting to be or do someplace else. It's very present. So if it feels like all is swirling around you, shifting and changing with mutable in astrology, then you hold on to and you stay grounded with nature and the element of earth, which is not only present but always satisfies. As the energy intensifies, moving towards the last full moon of 2024. Monday, December 9th, the moon moves into cardinal, impatient, fiery Aries first sign of the zodiac that wants something new, brand new, always wants to get something initiated and started. Now, the moon in impatient Aries makes a sextile aspect to Pluto, now fully in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius. The moon in Aries makes a fire trine flow to its ruler, Mars retrograde in Leo. And then also the moon in Aries makes a fire trine flow to Mercury retrograde in its detriment in the sign of mutable fire, Sagittarius. All of this impatience and restlessness, and it's not enough, can be quite foolish, to say the least. The moon in Aries, and Aries is so romantic, but the aspects Aries is making, the moon in Aries, to the air element of Pluto in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, is take a second look at a relationship that you are just rushing into headfirst in the sign of Aries. The moon in Aries making that fire trine flow to Mars retrograde in Leo, and then the Mercury in its detriment retrograde in Sagittarius, taking an action, giving an agreement, making a deal with these kinds of configurations going on. Yet again, this emphasizes the impatience of the dissatisfaction, the never enough component to what is going on in the cosmos. The astrology isn't making us do anything. The astrology and the bright lights of the stars highlighting for us what's going on in the cosmos is simply giving us a very clear view of, if we don't hold on to the element of earth, patience, satisfaction, contentment, and just rush right in because of this compulsion of it never being enough, then a very foolish decision can potentially be made. We always have to bring in the cycle of the moon, because it's not a waning moon where the light is decreasing. It's not a new moon moment when we simply don't see the light of the moon at all. This is a build-up towards the full moon culmination, which is the energy is more intense. The energy is more pressure. So if you also feel pressured into making a quick decision, making a quick action, because some outside influence perhaps is telling you that you shouldn't be satisfied, that you shouldn't be content. I actually had a young lady client one time come in for a reading, and the first words out of her mouth were, "I hate people that are content." Now that can be a part of the foolishness of youth to make such a statement, but there it is. Not liking, not being satisfied with the feeling of being happy and content just to be present, to be in the moment, which is what the element of earth in astrology represents. And there isn't a lot of earth this week. Just that planet Uranus of expect the unexpected in Taurus. Things that you think or perhaps are taking for granted are always going to be fixed, like the element of earth. And Taurus, which represents nature. Wednesday, December 11th, we now have the moon moving into its exaltation sign of fixed earth, Taurus. Now, when the moon is exalted, the desire and the wanting is insatiable. This is a placement of not enough. Why? Because the moon is what we're hungry for, never satisfied. It has to do with needs. It is that insatiable quality, the moon, when it is over the top, exaggerated or exalted, meaning The moon is on steroids here. Never enough. And Taurus is the money sign. So if there is some big ticket item or deal or whatever the money situation is, remember the second quarter moon at 17 degrees Pisces, which is aligned, connected to a degree in astrology that has to do with be prudent and cautious with your money. What you have. What's that old saying? A fool and his money are soon parted. So the moon exalted in Taurus really wants and desires something badly, and they want it now. The moon is really agitated on this December 11th because the moon exalted in Taurus is making a square aspect to Pluto in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, Mars retrograde in Leo, and the moon makes what's called an inconjunct aspect of shifting and changing to Mercury retrograde in its detriment in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Mercury in Pisces and in Sagittarius, which are both Jupiter ruled, this is the ultimate sales job, where the Mercury component, retrograde in Sagittarius, is selling and promoting, the moon making that inconjunct aspect of adjustments to that Mercury in Sagittarius can be trying to figure out, well, if I make a payment plan for like the next 5,000 years or some exaggerated Mercury in Sagittarius number, where you want it so badly, that's the moon exalted in Taurus, and it's making this aspect of adjustment, the inconjunct, to the classic used car salesman that is determined to sell you that lemon. And they will promote and sell and give you every reason why you can afford it and should not be satisfied, content with what you have. It's also Mercury's day, a Wednesday. December 12th, we have the moon still in the sign of Taurus, making a conjunction to Uranus in Taurus. So this is that a fool and his money are soon parted. The moon conjunct Uranus in Taurus is that sudden disruption, potentially that sudden disruption, separation from what it is that you have of value, Taurus, and that sudden separation, disruption, divorce from something that you have that can bring great satisfaction and contentment. Something of great value. Doesn't necessarily have to be money, but this astrology this week does very much tie into impatiently letting go of and being separated from what is of value to you, your money, because of this not enough or never satisfied component. And then that moon making that conjunction to Uranus and Taurus, the sudden, okay, I'll buy the product or do whatever, how this applies in your life. Know where this is taking place in your personal astrology chart. For instance, let's say this is taking place in your 7th house of marriage. You've got Scorpio rising and you've been in this relationship, you've been in the marriage, and then something convinces you that to end what could be a perfectly good relationship because of this not enougher component. I always say to my clients that are involved with the not enougher to be careful, because a person that is not enougher, sooner or later, you're not going to be enough. They'll find something dissatisfying in the relationship, not just the stuff and the money. So depending on where this aspect is taking place in your personal astrology chart, see where that sudden, unexpected, I'm not satisfied, it's not enough, ending could potentially take place. Again, it doesn't have to. This is simply what the cosmos is putting a spotlight on for us to have greater awareness and see, especially as we are now in waxing gibbous moon phase, approaching the last full awareness culmination of the full moon in Gemini. Friday the 13th, Venus's day. We then have the moon moving into mutable air Gemini. The moon needs and wants change. The moon is also wanting more information to sort through the different emotions and compulsions. Get more information, more facts with the moon in Gemini on Friday the 13th. This is what the emotions, what the moon needs. The moon in Gemini will then make an air trine flow to Pluto in Aquarius, a sextile to Mars, retrograde in Leo, in opposition to Mercury in Sagittarius, and then the moon in Gemini will make an air trine flow to Venus in Aquarius. What all of this means is that with the moon in the element of air in Gemini, air is superb at detaching from being emotionally overwhelmed. Air is excellent as far as strategy, planning, what is the next move, without letting the emotion cloud the objectivity. So on this Friday the 13th, the potential here, the cosmic superpower, is to step back and see clearly and get the facts and plan and strategize your next move, as opposed to the moon in Taurus just separating and making a sudden and abrupt decision. We love the moon in Gemini making an air trine flow to Venus in Aquarius on Friday the 13th. This can be very romantic in the sense of, let's just keep it light. Let's just see where this goes. We don't have to make these big defining decisions about what this is and what this will get because of a dissatisfaction. We can go with the flow, as they say. Also, always with Gemini, be the student, be like the tourist, visiting a foreign country, ask questions. Gemini is curious, it's exploration, it wants to know, it's open-minded to listening to the other person or the other side of a situation. Do that as we enter the weekend, December 14th, where the moon is still in Gemini and makes a square to Saturn in Pisces, then a conjunction to Jupiter in Gemini, and a sextile to Chiron in Aries. Now, the moon's sextile aspect to Chiron in Aries is a new sense of a new you is on the way. The moon in Gemini, though, making that conjunction to Jupiter in its detriment in the sign of Gemini, is to not talk too much or overthink. This is Gemini, the mind, to not talk and overthink a situation with Jupiter in its detriment. Just keep it light. Get the information, but don't make that final decision, because as we are approaching the exact moment of the last full moon of 2024, which will be at 23 degrees Gemini, I'll get to that next week. We also have Mercury. It's going to go direct. I'll get to that in the next podcast as well. But for now, as we are building up this week towards that culmination full moon moment, just know that whether you are typically always dissatisfied, or if you're feeling this week, what is this restless, anxious, dissatisfied feeling where something is missing? It's not enough, because that's the overall energy, let's say, throughout the week, the thread, the theme moving throughout the week. Then how you work with this, or how you would want to be more aware of this, is that, yes, the energy is building as we approach the full moon. Also, in the cosmic energies and powers, there isn't a lot of Earth. There's just that Uranus in the sign of Taurus. That feeling of being not contented, not satisfied. How you can work with that positively, where everything's up in your head and you just keep obsessing and thinking. One of the ways always that you can help with that feeling, if you have this feeling, is of course nature, Earth. You go to the Earth, always. That can be bringing in plants, going outside in nature. Perhaps there's not enough earthy colors in your place, forest green and burgundy and the earthy colors. Always go to nature. The other way you can work with this and do what works for yourself, these are just suggestions, is channel that into something creative. But to act on a feeling of great dissatisfaction, this week in particular, when it comes to your money and goods and valuables, hold off, because the energy is intensifying there, and there are outside influences that we don't have to be influenced by, but there are outside influences that are strongly suggesting that you need, buy, get something with these energies of, well, it's not enough. Also, our pets, animals, they bring that feeling of earth groundedness, satisfaction, contentment, because they are what they are. They know their nature and they are true to their nature. They simply just be and exist in the full contentment of what they are. This can help you out as well. Animals, always, if you're feeling this sense of too restless, too dissatisfied, have a fabulous week, everyone. Enjoy the last full moon of 2024. I will see you all in the stars.